Why would anybody compare a Volvo EX90 and a Kia EV9, you may ask? Well, even though Volvo and Kia are very different brands, with one being a conservative Swedish luxury brand known for elegant design, safety and comfort, and the other brand a mass market Korean car manufacturer that offers a range of different vehicles with cool design and bang for the buck. The EX90 and the EV9 may just be the closest cars these two brands have ever made to each other. And for those just looking for a large electric family SUV, saving 20 to 30,000 euros over the Volvo may be worth a few compromises. This summer, I made a video touring the Volvo EX90, and last week I went to the Norwegian launch of the EV9 where I got to drive it. So in this video, I take a look at the similarities, but also the differences, and see how these two large electric SUVs compare, and find out which you should buy. In photos and videos, the EV9 may not be the best looking car, but after seeing one in person, several in person actually, I think it is a stunning piece of design. It's cool and rugged and unlike anything else on the road. I really do like the way the EV9 looks. But with that being said, I still think that the EX90 may just be the prettiest SUV currently on sale and planned for sale in the next coming years because its elegant proportions, simple lines, and beautiful details just makes it a stunner in person. And then we have the exterior dimensions where these two cars are very similar. I mean, they're within a few centimeters here and there in length and height and width. Wheelbase, even ground clearance is very similar. Maybe the biggest difference when it comes to dimensions has to be the towing capacity, where the EV9 just ekes out that EX90 with 2.5 tons of towing capacity versus 2.2 tons in the EX90. Both of these two cars offers interiors that are similar but also at the same time very different. Starting with the EV9, it can be had in a 5-seater, a 6-seater, and a 7-seater configuration, where you can have it in two different 6-seater configurations. One is a traditional, 3-row with captain chairs in the middle, and the second 6-seat configuration, you can swivel around the second rows of seat, giving it a lot more versatility and fun for families. When it comes to quality, the EV9 is in some places very impressive with the nicest vegan leather I've ever felt in my life. It just feels like Napa leather from 10 years ago. It is super impressive. But the rest of the interior is a little bit of mismatch between cheap switchgear and nice switchgear and touch buttons, physical buttons, and touchscreens. It just seems a little bit overwhelming at first, and quality is just a little bit above something you would expect in an EV6. So not impressive, but good enough for this type of vehicle. The EX90, on the other hand, is elegant, simplistic, and Scandinavian, where quality is a lot higher. It just looks and feels much more exclusive and a lot cleaner. But it does have a compromise when it comes to some of that functionality, with more things buried in menus, and also compared to the XC90, which it kind of replaces, quality isn't as good in some places. So it is a little bit of step back, but compared to the EV9, it is a much more luxurious experience. Before we take a look at more details when it comes to these two cars, I just want to give a huge thanks to today's video sponsor, Recharge, the largest charge point operator in the Nordics with more than 4,000 charging points across Norway, Sweden, and Finland. And I just made a cool video called The State of Charging in Oslo, where we took a look at some of the new charging sites from Recharge and also new upgraded and updated charging sites. Some of them are pretty awesome, so if you're interested in that, go to the link in the description box down below and check out that video. Neither me or anybody else outside of Volvo have actually driven the new Volvo EX90, but I have driven a lot of new Volvos in the past few years, and I've also owned two Volvo XC90s, a D4 diesel and a T8 hybrid. And those two cars, along with all the other Volvos I've driven, I thought have been magnificent. I really do like the way Volvos drive, the sense of solidity, and the feeling of quality. And I have no doubt in my mind that this new EX90 is going to be as good or even better than all the other Volvos I've driven, being their new flagship vehicle. But I have actually driven the new Kia EV9, and I'm going to play a short clip for you guys here where you can, see my impressions for yourself. And if you want to check out the full review, there will be a link in the description box down below. I'm feeling the bumps and undulations. This section here is usually a little bit of upset, and then another upset, and then a third one here, and then the fourth one, and then you have another one here, and then the last one before it goes flat. And this usually is a section of road that cars that aren't set up very well, they just keep skipping. The car never settles down, but the body control in this car, and remember this is a large SUV, is very impressive. And then we have a speed bump here, which is more of an abrupt, bump that, tests just the dampening. Since both of these two cars are brand new and not even fully available to the public in all markets, we don't have a full lineup yet, but we do have the all-wheel drive versions of both of these two cars, and that's what we're going to take a look at in this video. And here again, like with the exterior, they are very similar but also at the same time different. So the Volvo EX90 looks to be winning on everything when it comes to battery pack size, performance, and range. And also the starting price in Norway, which is what I have available, is the same. But you may be thinking, well, that's a little bit of a misnomer because the EV9 is here in GT Line Launch Edition, which has almost all the bells and whistles. But with that being said, the Volvo EX90 does have a lot of standard equipment, and when you jump up, to the ultra trim level, it actually has more stuff that you can't have on the EV9. So at least here in Norway, when I was speccing these two cars, they are actually very similar price, where the EX90 can be had at the same price as the EV9 with very few compromises. We're talking about color options and wheel sizes, maybe things people don't really care about when you can get mostly the same available equipment. But then we take a look at something like the charging speed, where the EX90 has a higher peak charging speed but a slower 10 to 80% time. And there's a few reasons for this. So first off, the Volvo has a 400 volt architecture and that EV9 has an 800 volt architecture. It is built on the EGMP platform, the same platform that underpins the Ioniq 5 and Ioniq 6, but they have dialed down the peak charging speed to give it a flatter charging curve, and I think that is very, very welcome. But one thing Volvo have done a lot better than Kia the past few years is preconditioning of the battery, which in practice, I think these two charging times with the EV9's, poor preconditioning and the EX90's really good preconditioning, I think that the charging times in the real world are probably going to be very similar. One of these two cars is available for order and for test driving at a dealer as this video is being made. You can go buy one and take delivery of one in the near future, while the other car was supposed to be delivered Q2, Q3 2024, but has already been delayed twice. I ordered a Volvo EX90, and according to my contract, late Q2 2024 or early Q3 2024 was supposed to be my delivery here in Norway, but that car has been delayed at least a year. So if I'm lucky, I'll get my car late summer 2025, so still about a year and a half to 2 years away. So if you want an electric car now or within the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, or 12 months, there really is only one choice here, and that is the Kia EV9. And for what you're getting and for the price, I think it is a very cool, a very interesting car. And I think if you go out and buy one, even though it's a lot of money for a Kia, you won't be disappointed. But if you're thinking, I want to try both, and you usually only have your cars for about 2 or 3 years and you can take that depreciation, go out and buy a Kia now. Have it for 2 years or 3 years, because that Volvo is probably about 2 years away in most markets. So you can have one for, you can have an EV9 for 2 years or 3 years, and then you can still, buy the EX90 when it's basically brand new or almost new. So I think none of these cars is a bad choice, but if you want the most luxurious experience and you don't, need an electric car now, wait for the EX90. But if you want a large 7-seat or 6-seat or 5-seat, just a large electric SUV now, check out the EV9. I think you'll find it very interesting.